Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Wellness First podcast. My name is Navya Sara, and this is my mom, Pooja Jaswal. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for doing this again for me.
I mean, I was bribed a little more this time.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, this time what we're going to do is that basically Mama does a Ask Me Anything every week.
Yeah.
Every week she does this and she gets hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions and she answers them every single week, which is crazy. But I think we wanted to go
a little
through
deeper.
some of the questions a little deeper. And also the more commonly asked questions so that
Yeah, I think because with AMA, the problem is that you just have to give the answer in one liner. So it's not enough. And sometimes you want to really go in depth into some of these questions and address them. So I thought we'll pick up few of those questions which are frequently asked and answer them in a little bit more detail.
The first question is I'm vegetarian and I feel as though I'm not having enough protein. So, what is a good protein supplement that you would recommend?
Yeah, so this is one of the most common questions we get asked because obviously the information you're getting around on social media is that you need to have protein. If you don't have enough protein,
You'll die.
you'll die.
You'll die, like your body will
Yeah.
atrophy and
Yeah, exactly.
game over.
So the thing is, like, even in older people, when you see that, they want you to have more protein and they want you to have muscle, the muscles actually don't get built with only eating protein, but actually movement. So people who are regularly moving and they're moving, they're doing like a full body workout, they will are using the muscles. And when you use your muscles is when you don't waste your muscle. So muscle wastage doesn't happen because you're not having enough protein.
Right.
Muscle wastage is happening because you're not using it and you're just sitting, and your tendency to sit for longer hours goes up as you start, like when you retire and when you're in your 60s and your physical activity goes down, then muscle wastage starts to begin.
Right.
So important thing is that movement and protein, they go hand in hand. So you can't just have the protein and not move around. So I have a lot of people who are quite sedentary. So they are working on they have a corporate job. So they will be sitting on a laptop from 9 to 6. They're not moving that much. And then even if they're exercising, it's only 1 hour a day or something like that, which is intense packed thrice a week. Now, with that kind of movement, protein requirement is actually less. It's not that high.
Of course, yeah.
But the young girls, obviously, they move more, they're doing more gymming, they're more exercising more, and they are more conscious about their weight and everything. So they have higher movement built in their lifestyle. So in that case, obviously, when you're younger, in your 20s, 30s, then you can take higher protein. Now, if you're a vegetarian, then if you want to really supplement, then you should supplement with a protein supplement which also comes with fiber. So which is what we had discussed in the last podcast, that protein in nature is found with fat or either it comes with fiber, and then the isolate protein supplement is what you get, which comes with none. So it doesn't come with fat, it strips off of the fat and it's stripped off of the fiber as well. Now, what we are seeing is that people who are having only isolate protein tend to have a lot of gas, bloating, because they're not able to digest an isolate form. So, one quick hack would be that if you're taking a protein supplement, then you can take something like a fiber supplement along with it as well. So, either you're doing a lot of fruits and vegetables with it. Otherwise, if you're doing protein, then make sure that there is some fiber that is added to it. So, Cosmic Way is a good company which is doing a good, decent protein. Whole Truth is another one. Then these are good protein supplements to take, but make sure that you take it with fiber. And again, match it with your amount of activity that you're doing. So if you're less active, if you're not doing 10,000 steps a day, if you're not going to the gym, then maybe protein is not something that you should just over focus on. Just do your macros properly every plate, which is basically your carbohydrates, your fats, and good quality protein on the plate. Have enough fruits and vegetables around it, and then you're fine.
Yeah. So the viewer's second question is that before period, I get a big paunch and I gain a lot of weight. What am I doing wrong?
So there are a lot of people who will say that their weight suddenly went up by 1 kilo or 2 kilos. I went to a party and I slept late, and then next day when I weighed myself, I was 2 kgs up. So if you had to put on a technically 1 kg of weight, you would have to eat 7,000 calories.
Yeah, 1 kg of fat.
1 kg of weight, pure weight that you put on your body.
Okay.
Pure weight without water, without any other thing. If you had to put on that much weight, you'll have to consume 7,000 calories extra. But now you just overnight by sleeping late and eating a meal outside cannot give you 2 kgs weight gain, right? So that doesn't add up. So you shouldn't feel like, oh, the weight is just suddenly going up and I've put on all this weight. It's actually not. It's not like that. It's just fluid retention. It can be gas, it can be bloating, and it can be inflammation, which makes you feel like you've put on weight. But actually, when you come back to your regular lifestyle, you stay hydrated, you sleep well, you eat properly, 2 meals, 3 meals, which are homemade meals, then suddenly you'll see that the inflammation will come down. And that fluctuation that happens in your weight a lot, that will not happen. So just before your period, what happens is that it has been noticed that you basically have little bit of inflammation in your body. And there's a lot of water retention because the lining gets made, so body tends to retain a lot of fluid in your body, because then as soon as the period comes, you feel that the fluid is now leaving the body. As soon as the fluid starts to leave the body, the inflammation comes down, and when the inflammation comes down, you feel like, better. So everything just seems clogged, bloated, stuck, the lymph isn't moving correctly. So all that happens 1 week before period, but too much of bloating should not happen. That is an indication that you might have a gut issue. So there could be inflammation in your gut, and that basically flares up just 2-3 days before period. So what you have to then work is start to eat in a way that reduces the inflammation in the body, and you have to work on your gut health. Now, how do you work on your gut health is basically, again, going back to the basics that, cut down all the food which is coming from outside because it's made in a lot of bad oils. A lot of like we spoke about the industrial starch being used and all that tends to just create a lot of inflammation in your gut, a lot of caffeine, all that. So once you bring that all back in order for a month, then you will see that bloating period that you're getting will get reduced. For some people it's like 5 days, for some people it's 3 days, so for some people it's 2 days, for some people it's 1 day. It depends on how good your gut health is.
Right, yeah.
So if you start working on your gut health, then the inflammation starts to come down. And when the inflammation starts to come down, these symptoms that you see just before period will become milder and milder.
Yeah.
So alcohol makes a huge impact as well. So if you had too much alcohol, let's say during the month, then you will see that you'll have a very bad PMS in that month, because now the body is getting rid of all the toxins and all the the liver is overactive because it has to break down all this alcohol that you've taken. So liver takes a toll. It's not able to get rid of the extra estrogen that you build during the month. So all that kind of piles up, and then it starts to show 3 to 4 days before period. But it's all inflammation, it's bloating, it's water retention, it's just the clogged stuff that's not passing out of your system properly. So you shouldn't get too worried about, oh, my weight has gone up, but just focus on the basics of getting the inflammation down, eating properly and resting properly, and then you will see that the things will start getting better. And also you have like lymph nodes in your body, different types of nodes where things get accumulated, and from there they pass on to different parts of your body. And some women actually also have cystic breasts before period. So that is one of the symptoms where they will feel like, there is a lump that's coming up in their breast, and then that kind of settles as soon as the period settles. And this is called cyclical, cystic breasts. So it happens with the cycle, it goes up for a certain time and then it starts to come down. What is happening is that your lymph is slowing down. So if your lymph moves properly by doing like a full body workout, yoga, exercise, pranayam, your lymph is moving. And then you will see that cystic breast symptom, which is a very classic symptom of PMS, doesn't happen. And then you also then see that your inflammation 1 week before period is low. And then you also see that the period comes and goes without any problems.
So the next question from the viewers is that how can I reduce inflammation in my body?
So how do you reduce the inflammation? One is obviously the movement, which is important to get the lymph going, because lymph is accumulating all this inflammation or all the toxins which are, you need to flush them out, it's not able to flush out. So if you're constipated or you're not doing a proper workout, then the lymph will become stagnant. So one way is to move a lot so that the lymph keeps moving, because lymph does not have a pump of its own. So it doesn't have a pump like heart. So it doesn't pump because there's a heart actually pumps the blood and distributes it throughout the body. Lymph doesn't have a pump. So it moves with movement. So if you don't move, then lymph doesn't move. And that's why, people who are bedridden, they get back sores. That's because the lymph isn't moving. So they start getting the bed sores because of that. So the movement is very important for the lymph to move. Now that is one aspect of it. The movement is important. Now the second aspect is that what is it that you're eating, which is, inflammatory in nature. So there are a lot of people who are asking me, like, how do I actually reduce inflammation in my body? How do I make sure that I'm not inflamed all the time? So one aspect of it is that you reduce the inflammatory foods, which are very clear ones, very easy ones, which are like the sugar, the alcohol, the meat, a lot of meat products, eggs, they're inflammatory in nature. So because then they create more inflammation in your body. Even high protein diet is inflammatory in nature. Or if you're doing a lot of snacks and general junk food from outside, seed oils, because you're eating food from outside which is made in bad oil, quality of oil, that will be inflammatory in nature. So the food that you get from outside is a refined oil, right? Then refined oil has a lot of omega-6 and 9, which are inflammatory. Omega-3 is non-inflammatory. So you need to eat foods which have more omega-3s in them. So fish, or you can have flax seeds, or any nuts and seeds will have high omega-3s in them. Even ghee has omega-3 in it. So when you introduce non-inflammatory oils, you reduce the inflammatory oils from your diet, you reduce the junk, and you increase the amount of fruits and vegetables you are eating, then the inflammation will come down. We also have seen that a lot of, especially if you're someone who actually is intolerant to certain foods. For example, you can't digest gluten, for example.
Yeah.
Like you've eaten something gluten and you have proper, runny stools or constipation, things like that. Then removing that grain would help. So removing the gluten might help. Or it could be that you are allergic to milk products, for example. So lactose intolerance. You see a minor sign of lactose intolerance in your body. Then removing the milk and dairy product will help. So you need to see what is inflaming my body, and then reduce that and just go on a non-inflammatory diet for some time. So there are a lot of people who ask me what is a non-inflammatory diet, and we send them tips on how to, reduce inflammation. So one way would be, very easy to Google, right? And say, okay, give me a list of foods which are inflammatory in nature, and just remove those, right? So gluten will be on top, soya will be on top, and dairy will be on top, because dairy is commercially produced. So sometimes you have more inflammation because of that, because you're not able to digest the commercially produced milk. So you can reduce that. And then and Ayurvedically, CCFT has been considered to be something which reduces inflammation in a big way. So herbal teas can reduce inflammation and increase the hydration in your body. So CCFT is a very easy preparation. I think it's really good. Everybody should have it.
CCFT is?
It's cumin, coriander, fennel. 1 spoon of each, you boil it in water, and you drink that a couple of times in a week. That will reduce inflammation. Right? Second thing that can reduce your inflammation big time is buttermilk. So if you have like a homemade chach, not like from outside, or you get the dahi from outside and you make a chach from it. No, you need to set the dahi at home. It has the lactobacillus, the real live bacteria in it, and then you make a chach out of it. And that becomes an anti-inflammatory drink which you can have every single day. So if you do that every single day, you do 2 cups of CCFT, and then you reduce the inflammatory foods from your diet, you will see that inflammation will suddenly start coming down. And then you're doing the workouts as well, which are moving the lymph. And then, and then obviously late night parties and this and that, if you reduce and like you sleep on time and you wake up on time, then that will reduce inflammation as well, because the cortisol actually starts to settle. Cortisol is inflammatory. So it will raise the inflammation in your body, because if you're stressed, it needs to run. And when it needs to run, is inflammatory in nature. So those are few things that you can do to reduce that inflammation. And then, because it is related to your gut, you need to improve the quality of your gut microbiome. So one is that obviously you eat lots of fruits and vegetables because your gut microbiome feeds on fiber. And if you're removing fiber, so the carbs also, the refined foods, you remove the fiber. In protein also, you're removing the fiber.
Yeah.
So everywhere, if you're removing the fiber, the gut microbiome is starving because it feeds on fiber, the soluble, insoluble, all types of fiber. So if you starve your gut microbiome from the basic necessity of what it feeds on, then it'll start to starve, and then you will have gut issues, and then that will start giving you more issues towards the period.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to feed the gut microbe in the right way, and also you need to colonize your body with the right sort of gut microbiome. So what do you eat that actually colonizes with good microbiome is lactobacillus is one of the main ones, which is what you get from buttermilk.
Okay.
So you drink that every day, so you get a little bit of good gut bacteria going into your body and colonizing. So then that starts to reduce the inflammation. Because most of the things, like you must have heard that a lot of people, when they have hair fall, they are having biotin as a supplement. Biotin gets made by the gut microbiome. So it's the gut microbiome which is not making enough biotin, and that's why you have to take it from outside.
Right.
But the same thing can be done from inside. So if you do everything from inside out, then things will start working in more holistic way for you. So it will not only reduce inflammation, but it will also give you good hair, because then it will start making the biotin for you. So B12 also is made by the gut. So a lot of vitamin synthesis of vitamin D and things like that are all getting done by the gut microbiome. And we are just ignoring them. And we are like, okay, let's isolate this and let's isolate that and let's have this and let's have that. But gut microbiome feeds on fiber. So if you are leaching out the fiber from everything, then gut microbiome is going to suffer. And that will then start reflecting on everything. So start from working on your gut. So do a good probiotic like a buttermilk every day. Do a CCFT, which brings inflammation down. Do a lot of rice.
What kind of rice?
So, in Chinese medicine also, you must have heard, like you had friends who were from China, right? So they would do something like a rice broth, which is like a breakfast that they have, congee, that they have for breakfast every single day. Yeah. And you also have seen a lot of girls doing a lot of fermented rice packs on their face, on their hair and stuff like that, because it's very good for the skin. But again, do the inside out business. So do the broth, do the rice broth every day, a small portion of that every day. It can change your gut completely, because rice is actually very healing for your gut. So you know how you actually, if you have IBS or if you have diarrhea, what is the first thing I would give you? Khichdi, which is made from rice. And then I'll add a little dahi to it, right? Or I'll give you a banana. Or, we'll cut out all the meat, right? We'll say you can't have the meat, you can't have the eggs or outside food, all that. So same principle applies here, that if your gut is inflamed, let it settle first. So how do you settle it first? And then start nourishing it. Because if you don't reduce the inflammation and you're just feeding all the good things, it's not going to absorb. So first you need to heal the gut.
Right, yes.
For example, if you have a cut or a bruise, first you heal it and then you nourish it, right? So that's how you do it with the stomach also. So first heal it. So how do you heal it? You do the CCFT, you do the buttermilk, you cut out all the junk food, you good quality oils going in, very warm, nice, nourishing foods, rice congee every day, maybe, and khichdi in the night with lots of veggies in it, all that will start healing the gut. And then once the gut starts to heal, then you start nourishing it. So, there are a lot of people who are doing lots of nuts and seeds. Like they're like, oh, I'm having an olive seed and I'm having sunflower seeds. But they have gut issues. That's not going to get absorbed.
Right, okay.
So first you heal the gut and then you start eating the nuts and the seeds and good protein and everything. Then it'll start getting absorbed by the body.
Okay.
So there are two-step process if you have inflammation in your body. So first month or two, you just heal the gut. Once you feel that the healing is back and I'm feeling nice and my bowel movements are good, I'm not constipated, my skin is getting better and the healing is happening, then after that you start nourishing it with good quality foods. So
it's like it's all connected basically.
Yeah. And rice is something that, if you put it on somebody's diet, they will say, oh, I'll put on a lot of weight. But rice is very healing. It's really healing for the gut. So you feel like you're putting on the weight. But like I said, if you put on the weight, it's inflammation. So how to reduce the inflammation? You need the rice.
Yeah.
So you can't cut down on the rice and feel that, that might
Yeah, and people like point fingers at the wrong things. They're like, oh, rice will make me gain weight, roti, ghee. But actually, it's the outside food and all of these things that increase inflammation.
Yeah.
And does inflammation like make your liver work worse, or is it related?
Yeah. So if your liver is impaired and because you're just feeding too much protein or too much fats and it's not able to cleanse because it's a detox agent. So your lymph is a detoxifying organ and then element, and then you have the liver which is detoxes everything. So liver actually has 300 functions of keeping everything in check. So for example, if you have a thyroid conversion of, there is an active and inactive form of thyroid hormone. So from T4 to T3, the conversion takes place in the liver. So vitamin D that you consume as a supplement or through sun, the conversion takes place in the liver. All the sugar management, that how much sugar needs to be going into the blood and how much needs to get stored, that all gets done by the liver. So the mitochondrial health is depending on the liver health. So liver means live, like liver. You can't live without a liver. Right? So liver is the center thing. So inflammation is something that's going to impact your liver health. And if liver health gets impacted, it will result in inflammation. So it works both ways.
And also like the liver, I mean, is responsible for metabolism, right? So if your inflammation is high, then that means your liver is not working well, which means you're not able to lose weight.
Yes. So your liver needs to be clean. And for the liver to be clean, you need to not overburden it with foods from outside, which then it has to break down and collect. And so what do I do of this toxin that has come in, or what do I do of that toxin that has come in? Okay, let me wrap. What it does is it's very intelligent. It wraps around a fat and stores it in the liver. So there's a lot of toxins because of which the liver becomes fat as well, because it stores it, because it doesn't know what to do with it. So all the the conversation that people are having about organic food and not having too many chemicals and what you're putting on the skin that gets absorbed, and ultimately all has to be processed by the liver. So the liver becomes stagnant because of that. So cleaning of liver is one of those most important aspects of Ayurvedic practices. So if you are approaching this from Ayurvedic perspective, the first thing they will do is cleanse. Right? Because they know that body has accumulated a lot of toxins over a period of time. So they'll cleanse you first. So they'll do the liver cleanse, they'll do the gut cleanse, they'll do cleansing first. After that, they'll heal it with the right kind of foods, so that now the inflammation goes down and the body comes back in balance. Then comes the third step of nourishment. So right now what we are doing is we're just focusing on nourishment. We're over fixated on how do I nourish my body, this is good for me, this is good for me, I should just keep eating. Yeah, but we're not keeping an eye on, are we cleansing enough and are we healing enough? So if the foods are not healing enough and we're not cleansing the liver regularly, then that can then accumulate, and then whatever you're putting on top as nourishing foods which you think are good for you is going waste.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That you could definitely not answer in an Instagram story.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so third question is, I just turned 40 and I feel like a different person. I'm gaining weight without eating much, even though I'm working out more consistently than ever.
Yeah. So this is something very common because body shifts around 40, your hormones kind of start to slow down a little bit. So now you run into a phase like, so for example, your fertile time is almost over, 40, 42, you've had the kids and everything. And now you are going into a perimenopause phase, which is for 8 to 10 years before you menopause around 50, 52. So now this is the phase where your hormones are slowly slowing down. And when it starts to slow down, it basically doesn't do the job it used to do before. So metabolism slows down. Suddenly you're like, and again in 40, 42, because you know that, you can't, like you in 20s, you can make the mistake and reverse it very quickly. In 30s also you can do that. In 40s, you know that now alcohol doesn't sit in my body really well. It doesn't get digested as I used to in 20s. So people understand that things are looking a little different right now. So again, in 40s, what you have to do is that the main two reasons why people are suffering in their 40s is because of inflammation, or second is insulin resistance. So insulin resistance starts to creep up in your body, or inflammation starts to creep up in your body. So you need to keep your inflammation in check and you have to keep your insulin levels in check. So in 40s, you cannot eat how you were eating in 20s. So you have to reduce the portion sizes of what you're eating. And you also have to make sure that if you are exercising, the exercise, and this is very important, that exercise cannot be very intense in your 40s. So in your 40s, the exercise that you're doing or a workout that you're doing should look like a massage. It should feel like a massage. It should feel like it has given me more energy than what it has drained me out of. So the exercise has to be up to 50% of your capacity.
Okay.
Right? So when you are growing up in your 20s, 30s, you can intensify your exercise and you can push yourself like anything. Work-wise also, you'll be able to push yourself. You'll be able to hit the deadline, stay awake in the night, still feel fresh in the morning. Because body is still quite vital and all that. But then in 40s, you need to start changing your strategy. So in 20s, you can work out 3 times in a week and still build your good muscles. In 40s, you'll have to do it every single day, but do it less. So less is more.
Less
in 40s.
intensity, but more frequency.
Yes. So frequency, consistency is important. You have to work out every single day. You can't like do thrice a week. But the intensity of the exercise has to be only 50% of what you can do. Now when people say, oh, 50% is too less. No, you can increase the 50% of what you're doing.
Right.
So let's say you're doing 3 laps is your 50% in a swimming pool. Then doing it every day for up to 50% of your capacity, tomorrow you'll be able to do 4 laps. You'll be 5 or 6 because your 50% capacity has gone up now. But you don't exercise to the point of exhaustion where you feel like you're dead now. You can't recover. Why? Because your recovery is as important as the intensity that you're putting in. So, for example, if you're doing strength training, the ideal way how you do strength training is thrice a week and you give a 24-hour break in between for the muscles to recover. But when you're in 40s, if you're doing the strength training, you need 2 days to recover from that. So you need to give a gap of 2 days in your 40s if you're doing strength training. Right? So you're going to do it on Monday, then you're going to do, in 20s, you might say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that works well. But in 40s, you'll have to do Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday off, then Thursday, then Friday, Saturday off, and then Sunday. So 3 strength training rather than, squeezed into a week. So you're spreading it more because I'll explain it to you with another example. So how are your muscles are quite tight when you are younger. Now, when you become pregnant, your stomach goes out and then it has to squeeze back in and become the same shape, right? Now, if somebody has had 2 babies back to back, then you will see that the second time the elasticity of those muscles to come back into shape reduces. So the first time your belly just went in and you were absolutely fine. Within a year, you had another baby, and after that, you're trying to reduce that paunch is not coming back because the elasticity in your abdominal muscles has reduced because it has stretched to the point and it has come back. The next time when it stretched, it's not able to come back to the original size because elasticity reduced. So same principle applies to your muscles as well. That it takes more time to recover, to come back to its, because strength, muscle building is nothing but breaking the muscle down and then rebuilding it, breaking it down, rebuilding it. Now that rebuilding capacity as you start aging reduces. So you need to reduce the intensity of your exercise and you need to increase the gaps between the strength training that you're doing. And in between, do more stretching. So you need to focus more on your lymphatic movement. So you need to get rid of all that toxin that is building up in your body because it's accumulating more. So do a good full yoga workout. It's great for women above 40, especially inverted poses. Inverted poses above 50 works fantastically well for the uterine health because when you are in an inverted pose, you like a shoulder stand. So your body is like that, your blood flow happens towards the uterus. And uterus has been, sitting like that, and you reverse it, it kind of shakes it. The blood circulation increases because all day you're standing like that. So your uterus is accumulating all that blood like this and making a lining like this. During the month when you don't have a period, when you go like that, it starts to shake it a little bit. And the circulation in the whole uterus increases. And that really helps. So inverted poses, holding it for 2 minutes every day. Lymphatic workouts, basically lymphatic drainage workouts, like a rebounding, where you stand on a trampoline and rebound a little bit. Excellent to move the lymph. That will reduce inflammation. and then reduce the portion of foods that you're eating. So, if you're having a big plate in 20s and 40s, reduce those portions and eat less. So less is more, again, with food as well. So instead of having 3 meals in a day, have 2 meals in a day. So that will then control your insulin resistance as well, and inflammation will come down. And then you do a more lymphatic sort of a movement where the lymph starts to move. And then on top of that, you take more rest between workouts. So do it, be gentle on your body is what I would say. Don't stress yourself thinking, oh, I did this in 20s, it worked. It should work in 40s. It will not work like that, because your hormones are not that robust, your cells are not that robust, your body is not that robust. So you need to support it. And when you support it that way, then be a little gentle with it and do more pranayam, because pranayam also makes you lose weight. Actually, a lot of people don't know that actually just by sitting and doing Kapalbhati, you can increase your metabolism and you can lose all the weight. So do more pranayam, because then you'll be able to lose the weight. It also works on your gut, so it starts to improve your gut health. And then it also reduces the stress and the cortisol levels in your body. So it starts to make more restorative hormones in your body. So hormone health will get balanced. Your metabolism will improve by doing Kapalbhati. And then if you're doing, any kind of Brahmari and pranayam, blood pressure is a major issue in 40s, that, blood pressure gets elevated. Now, if I'm going to the gym and I'm exercising, my blood pressure is shooting up. How do I do that? So you do your pranayam to control your blood pressure,
Right.
reduce the intensity of your exercise, but do it every single day, and then reduce the portion sizes. So be more gentler on your body, because the body cannot do so much, because it's an old engine now. Right? So when, you can just, equate it to a machinery. You need to oil it properly, but it runs very efficiently in the beginning, and as it starts to age, its efficiency reduces. So you need to oil it more, and you need to just take care of it more a little bit, and more wear and tear will happen. So wear and tear has already happened in your body in your 40s. So now if you are doing anything which is excess, will backfire. So you be gentle in every respect. So eating less and sleeping also a little less, not too much, like, sleeping in the day, sleeping in the night. No, just keep it 7.5 hours, and try to be like a little active throughout the day. So you are active in the kitchen, active everywhere, not sitting and plonking yourself at one place. And then, just move around a little bit, but that is a gentle movement. Do your exercise every day, reduce your portion sizes, and do a lot of pranayam, right? So that isn't the best anti-aging thing that you can do to yourself up 40 plus.
Yeah.
So that reduces your aging in a big way.
Okay. So after 40, what supplements would you recommend?
Okay, so there are some specific ones that you need to keep an eye on. So I would recommend that you get like a full panel blood test done every year, once a year. Don't do it too often, but just once a year. And if there are some things that you're picking up from there, like an iron deficiency or a vitamin D deficiency or a B12 deficiency, then those needs to be fulfilled for sure. Otherwise, like in general, omega-3 is a good supplement to take. Vitamin D, you need to stay on top as well. Vitamin D along with a good K as well. So D3 and K2 combination, you should be taking regularly. Like what you can do is, vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so it actually gets stored in your body. So you can take it for 2 to 3 months and then give it a gap of 6 to 7 months, and then you're good to go. So that way you can rotate vitamin D. Other than that, there are a lot of people who find magnesium very, very helpful. So magnesium glycinate, specifically if you have sleep issues. So with 40s, your sleep is not that great in your 40s. So I think taking a magnesium glycinate in the night before going to sleep can help. It works wonders for people. If magnesium is not working, then the other one that can work with your sleep and also with your cognitive health, because you're also looking at improved memory, and you don't want you want your brain to be sharp. Then another one that you can do is, which is my favorite, is Brahmi supplement. So you can take that in the night, and that helps you with sleep as well, and it also helps with your memory. So it does both jobs. So Brahmi supplement you can take. Then other than that, vitamin C is also something that you can take. So you don't have to take all the supplements all the time. What you can do is you can take omega-3 for 3 months, then another 3 months you can do D and K, and then for another 3 months you can take magnesium. For another 3 months you can take Brahmi plus vitamin C. So maximum you should not have more than 2 or 3 supplements in one time. You shouldn't be popping too many supplements. So just feel, and also intuitively see what is working for you. So creatine for some people when they are doing intense exercise works very, very well. So creatine is something that they can have. And then B complex is very, very important. So if your B12 is low, for example, then chances are that your whole B profile is low. So if your B12 comes out low, then I would suggest that you take a B complex for 3 months in a year and you drop that off as well after 3 months. So dropping is important. So you can't keep supplementing yourself all the time with supplementation. So take it and then leave it, and take it then leave it. So maybe if you're doing like a multivitamin, for example, take it for 3 months and after that give a break of 3 months and then do another 3 months. So so a combination of these kind of different supplements will be good. But long term, what is something that you can always take is omega-3. That's the only one that you can take long term. Rest, everything needs to be rotated, stopped and started again.
Okay.
So that's important.
When I wake up, I feel fatigued and tired, and it takes me an hour to feel okay, and I can't without drinking coffee. So what should I do?
So again, this is not aligning to the circadian rhythm, right? So if your sleep time and wake up time is not aligned to the sun cycle, then you will feel out of rhythm. So your body is trying to find a rhythm all the time. So it's trying to match the rhythm of the nature. And if you're against that, then you will feel that you're out of sync. And when you're basically, if it's a music which is out of sync, how you would feel, that's how the body is performing all the time. So that's why you feel like when you get up in the morning, you're just like, oh my God, like, what do I do now? And you just have to push yourself with a cup of coffee. So the ideal window is 10:30 to 6:30. So 10:30 sleeping and getting up at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. If you do that regularly for a month, you will see that your energy levels will shoot up a lot. And you will be able to wake up without an alarm. Because the body will know, okay, I've taken enough sleep, I've slept at the right time, it has repaired my body properly, because between 10 and 2, your maximum repair takes place. If you've missed out on that window, your brain hasn't assimilated the information you've learned in the night, during the day. So that assimilation and getting rid of that excess plaque from your brain, recollecting all what you've learned and trying to assimilate it properly, the new neuron connections that you're trying to make, or the liver needs to repair, all that happens between 10 to 2. So if you're sleeping late, you're missing out on that window. So 10 to 2 is very critical. So if you sleep at 10:30 and you wake up at 6:30, automatically your energy levels will shoot up and you will be able to wake up without a coffee easily. The other thing is that you feel sluggish because your lymph is very static in the morning. So doing like a full body workout first thing in the morning. So you don't have to do like an intense exercise. What you can do is just do like a lymphatic movement, which is basically a 10-minute movement that you can do, where you just move your hands, you move your shoulders, you move your neck, you do a little bit of like a butterfly pose, you do like a cat-cow pose. All these are lymphatic drainage poses.
Okay.
So you do like a 5 minute of that in the morning. Let the lymph get going. And the lymph starts to move, you'll feel that you are energized. Because the lymph has slowed basically in the morning. That's why you feel so static in the morning,
Right,
and you're like,
'cause you've been
everything
sleeping.
is spinning,
Yeah.
and you feel like so sluggish and everything. So if you do like a lymphatic workout in the morning, 5-10 minutes, go out in the sun and do that. You get the sun exposure, you do the lymphatic movement for 5-10 minutes, you drink some water. You'll see within 10 minutes you'll be energized. So it's just that body hasn't, like, the system hasn't kicked in. Like if you're getting up at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, already it's out of rhythm because you should have woken up at 6:30. Now you woken up at 8:30, your body's like sluggish. So you just do a little workout, like do a lymphatic workout. And once you do that for 5-10 minutes, you will see that things will just start kicking very quickly after that.
Okay. How should I work out keeping my cycle in mind?
Yeah, so that is something that we keep talking on our page all the time, because your body, again, has a rhythm. So woman has an extra rhythm in their bodies, which is for 28 days, and it is syncing to the lunar cycle. So lunar cycle is 28.5 days. We are also 28.5 days. So you basically, if you're out of that rhythm, then also things start to not work properly. So one of the biggest mistake that we are doing is that in the 3 days of period, we are not taking care of what we are eating. So we are eating a lot of cold foods, a lot of ice creams, cravings. So, we tend to go out. We've been told that you can do everything as normal and you don't have to stop because you have a period. You go out, you party, you do have alcohol, everything. And that then takes a toll on your body in a big way. And they start to show after 30, 35. So what you can do is that for first 3 days of your period, we recommend that you don't do workout at all. At all means at all. Like no movement is required at that point. So you take rest as much as possible. You stay hydrated. You eat warm foods and anything which is easy to digest, because your body has a lot of inflammation at that time. Your digestive fire is weak, and if you put anything which is hard to digest, like a high protein diet or a lot of non-vegetarian or a lot of alcohol, then you're asking for trouble. So first 3 days you keep everything very light. You sleep an extra hour. If you want to take a break from work, you can. Please don't push yourself. Don't stand for very long hours if your job demands standing, or going for long walks. Not required. So first 3 days, just take it very easy as much as possible. Try to stay low and stay put where you are. After that, you'll see that you will suddenly feel that your energy starts to go up a little bit.
Yes.
As soon as the period gets over. Because now the fluid is all out, because that was basically just stagnating your body as well. So the fluid has just gone out and it has released. And digestive fire starts to kindle again. And then you feel like a little bit more hungrier, there's more energy in your body, you're becoming more extrovert, you feel like going out, meeting people and all that. So energy-wise, mood-wise, you see an upsurge. Libido also goes up, all that because your ovulation time is coming. So at that time, your testosterone also goes up. So testosterone is something which is needed for higher energy and higher performance. So at this time, you intensify your exercise. So what you do is that if you're doing any strength training or you're doing like a gym workout and stuff like that, just after the period gets over,
Yeah.
5th, 6th day, your energy goes up, you start intensifying your exercise. So then it starts, you increase your intensity of your exercise right up till 1 week before period. You can go all out. 1 week before period, you start to slow down again, because now the lining starts to get made in your body. So now it's accumulating a lot of water, it's accumulating a lot of toxins, and it's like trying to build this lining for you. So at that time, what you want to do is you don't want to intensify your exercise, but work with your body. So you want to do more yoga, more pranayam, more stretching exercises. And during that 1 week before period, because the PMS, mood swings and all that will start to set in and stuff like that. So slow is good, less is good. So don't try to push yourself 1 week before period, because there'll be a lot of water retention that you'll be going against. So do more yoga, more, stretching, walks, swimming, those kind of exercises you can do. Don't do cardio, don't do excessive running and stuff like that, not required at that point. And then as the period comes, you stop again. Now, when you do it this way, in cyclical way, you will see that you will be able to put on more muscle in your body. Because you're working with your testosterone levels, so you will be building more muscle. You'll be able to tone your body better. You will also be able to shed your weight better, and also have a better period as well. So period will come and go without you even knowing about it. There will be no pain, and it will be easy and easy breezy, because you've done this cyclically for month in and month out. So if you sink into your rhythm and you do your exercise that way, you will get better results. You're using your energy according to your hormonal levels, and you're not pushing yourself where it's not needed. So if you're consistently doing this, then you will see that, you will start getting into better shape. For example, if you end up doing a lot of exercise in last 1 week before period, you will end up getting more inflamed.
Right.
So inflammation will go up, because exercise also increases inflammation. I don't know whether you knew this, but exercise will increase your inflammation in your body. But that's just like inflammatory markers go a little bit when you exercise. So now when your body is already in that luteal phase where it's building more lining, and you push yourself and you do like a very high intense workout, your inflammation will shoot up. Now, if the inflammation is up, then all the bloating and all the uneasiness that comes with inflammation, and the gut microbiome not getting aligned with it, then you'll get more PMS symptoms towards the end of the period. So it's not very difficult. It's just having an app where you can track your period. Just do it according to that, and then you will be good.
So I get a lot of UTIs for which I have to take antibiotics, which upset my tummy. How should I fix this?
So this is very common and gets more common with hormonal issues. So anybody who already has PCOS or any kind of hormonal issues, they tend to have more UTIs. So, so urinary tract infection technically looks like obviously an invasion of a bacterial infection which needs to be treated with antibiotics. But actually, what happens is that your gut microbiome is compromised, and that's why you start to get UTIs. So instead of working with antibiotics, which actually will then do the opposite. So when you take an antibiotic, which is a full spectrum antibiotic, it goes and kills all the kind of gut microbiome in your body. So it'll kill the bad ones, but it'll also kill the good ones. And that's why you have an upset tummy. So now you have to rebuild all that gut microbiome as well, so you need to keep working on your gut microbiome. So long-term solution to this is that you need to build a good quality gut microbiome in your body. So you need to have a good probiotic when you don't have an UTI. Not during the time of UTI. If it is really severe, you'll have to take the antibiotic. But once the UTI is over, then after that, build on your probiotics. So take a good quality probiotic. You can also, sometimes the UTI happens because you're just dehydrated. So drink a lot of water so that if there is an initial, attack of a bacteria, most of it can be flushed out just by drinking a lot of water. So if you feel like there is some discomfort, there's some, pain or stinging that you're feeling in that area, then just start drinking a lot of water. Immediately you will feel that it's gone. So you can avoid a full-blown UTI if you start drinking a lot of water, if you feel like you sense that it might be coming back. Because people who get frequent UTIs know when it is coming back. The third thing that you can do regularly when you don't have a UTI is to have bale water, jaw ka pani. So you boil a lot of jaw and you chano it and you drink that. It is considered to be excellent in actually detoxifying your body with any bacterial infection. So this is a natural way. It's not killing your gut microbiome, but it's just getting rid of all the infection that's building up. The fourth thing that you can do is obviously you're taking a good quality probiotic supplement. Along with that, do a good buttermilk every day. So buttermilk needs to go in your diet, like I said, every single day. Other than that, there is another remedy that you can do, which is a very good probiotic that you can do. So what you do is you take cooked rice and in a small pot, like a clay pot, you put the cooked rice in it and you cover it with water. Okay, and you leave it overnight. So it will ferment a little bit in the morning. With this fermented rice, you add a little dahi and make a curd rice out of it with tadka and everything. And you consume that on a daily basis. Anybody who has a lot of UTI or IBS symptoms, they should do this every single day. And if you do this every single day for 3 months, UTIs will go, the IBS will go, all the gut issues that you're having will just disappear. So, but you'll have to do it on a daily basis because you're fermenting it and you're taking that probiotic on a daily basis in your body. So that's a very, very good way. And all traditional, cultures will have one kind of probiotic, this kind of recipe in their culture. Kerala has, Assam has, Orissa has. So everybody has. And locally, they found this figure this way out that you have any kind of fermentation that you do helps you build a good microbiome in your body and it keeps all the infections away. So for UTI, that's the main thing. When the UTI comes, there's another supplement that they can take which can help as well, which they can Google and find out. There are a lot of UTI supplements in the market right now, which has a particular thing called D-mannose, which helps with UTI infections, and also cranberry extract. So they usually have that combination and you take that, and that can also reduce the intensity of UTI and the frequency of UTI that's coming. But it's mainly a gut issue. It's nothing to do with, oh, I went to a toilet and, I used a public toilet and I got a UTI. No, you're predisposed to a UTI because you have a poor gut microbiome. So you will catch the infection very quickly. But if you work on your gut microbiome, then you will reduce the frequency of UTI. And antibiotics are not a long-term solution. Yeah. You can take it one or two times, but avoid it as much as possible. If you can do all the supplementation, probiotics, taking that supplement and making that probiotic in the morning, the fermented rice thing, have the buttermilk, have the barley water, then most of the things can be taken care of very easily.
What are some daily practices that you can't live without?
Okay, so there obviously there's a lot of things that I have figured over a period of time which work for me really well, and I tend to swear by them because I feel like they work for me really well, and they have worked, and I think they can work for a lot of other women as well. 40 plus, I've been using these methods to just improve my immunity, not fall ill again and again. All those kinds of things can be taken care of. It takes care of my skin, hair, everything. So there are some things that I do very, very regularly. So the first thing that I have started doing, because my energy levels are a little low in the morning, is I hydrate myself a lot in the morning. So before lunchtime, I make sure that I'm having at least 7 to 8 glasses of water is done in the morning. So my hydration is done in the morning. Other than that, I also do a lot of soaked waters as well. So, like a jeera water, I'll do sometimes. Sometimes I'll do like a cinnamon water. I do my soaked almonds, which is a ritual. Then, other than that, we do the raisins with kesar. Again, kesar is very good for your memory, and it is also good for a better mood. So, which is what, like, a lot of women feel depressed in their 40s and 50s just when menopause is approaching. So kesar is something that works really well for that, for your mood, for your sleep. So I soak a little kesar in the night and I drink that water with raisins in the morning, and then I do the almonds. Other than that, I also do oil pulling every single day, which is very important for me because I used to have a lot of dental issues in my 30s. But since I've started doing oil pulling, I've not had too many dental issues. So oil pulling is something that I do every single day in the morning. Other than that, I also do oiling, like abhyanga, like a full body massage. Not It takes 2 to 3 minutes while the shower is on, and I just take a lot of oil. I massage my body properly, and then I then just take a shower. But I use like a slight scrub to just scrub it off, and then I don't use a moisturizer on top. So I don't do that at all. So I don't use any moisturizer, just oiling my body with a good quality oil. It can be coconut oil, it can be sesame. I don't like sesame that much because I feel like it's like a cooking oil. So yeah. So I tend to do coconut oil more. So I do coconut oil throughout the year. Oil pulling is something that I do every day. Then I my soak nuts, my water in the morning. And then I start with, like, my staple diet is obviously an egg in the morning. So I do my egg in the morning with a paratha or something like that. So high protein breakfast is what I do. I have reduced my food intake to 2 meals a day, which has worked well because I felt like I was putting on a little weight. And my first indicator is that you start putting on a little weight around the waist, and the trousers tend to become a little tight. The moment I feel like my trouser is getting tight, I make a correction, because I think if you fix it there and then you don't go beyond a point where you can't correct it. So as I've started feeling that 3 meals were too much for me, I reduced it to 2 meals a day. And then, because you do only 2 meals a day, it basically helps you eat fruits and nuts and seeds and other things throughout the day. So and buttermilk is something that I carry with me to office every day. So I have my buttermilk every day. I have a fruit and some nuts and seeds at that time between lunch and between breakfast and my evening meal. So I do that a little bit. Other than that, I do my yoga and pranayam every single day in the morning. So that is something that I do it on my own. So my intensity is not very high, but I try to do it myself because I feel like I can do as much as I like, and nobody's pushing me to do it in a certain way. So I have a full sequence that I do, which is for half an hour, not more than that. And then for 10 to 15 minutes, I do pranayam, and then I meditate for 5 minutes, and then I'm done. Like 45 minutes, and I'm done with the whole workout. So that is something that I do, and I swear by pranayam because I think that because I used to have a luteal phase issue where my period used to come quicker. So 28 day cycle I would get a period in 24 days or 23 days. So I used to have a shorter cycle. But when I started doing my pranayam, I started getting a 28 day. Okay. Absolutely bang on time 20 day. Sometimes 27, sometimes a little more, but never like a 21 day cycle or a 22 cycle. So a luteal phase defect a lot of people have, they tend to get period early. So with pranayam that got resolved as well. So I swear by that. And other than that, I take Brahmi supplement. I take a creatine supplement. I take a amla supplement every day. Vitamin D I take on and off just to make sure that the levels are okay. I take my test once a year just to check if everything is okay. And yeah, so less is more. Like you could say, like lesser portions of food, lesser intense exercise, but doing it every single day. And sleep. Sleeping at 10:30 and waking up at 6:30. That is something that I've stuck to as well, which has improved my energy levels a lot because I sleep well and I don't feel groggy, tired all the time. And the other thing that I do is CCFT, which I've spoken about. So CCFT in the morning. And I have 1 cup of coffee, which is around 11 o'clock. So once I've had my breakfast and I go to office, that's like a little treat that I get, is like a 1 cup of coffee at that time. And that's my coffee done for the day. And then that is my routine that has worked really well for me.
Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. So yeah, today what we did was that we answered all of the frequently asked questions on that she receives on her Instagram. But thank you so much for watching. In case you want to learn more about women's health, please give a look at Mama's page and keep asking us questions, and we will address them in the next episode. And subscribe. Thank you.